I think it's a good. I really do think it's a good. I mean, it's a very knowledge and something that you have to be aware of wherever you go. So that's just kind of why I was on I just decided not to take 5. I'm like, it's my last semester, and so I will just take this year. It's super easy.
Who's your theater professor?
Masters, the dynamic leadership through improv.
Uh-huh.
On class for my last semester.
Cool. Cool.
Oh yeah, I would have liked it to be there too. I wish I could have taken it last year because he was such a good finance instructor, and I really liked his content. Like if I didn't like I'm here if I wasn't, I would have added finance to my thing because I really loved it. I like the numbers and I like the math portion of it. So.
How is everybody? Good. Good to hear. So, I've got 2 quick announcements, and then we're going to talk about the online simulation today, and that'll be it. So, first announcement: there's still a lot of people on my course roster for this class that don't have a group yet. It may just be that you haven't told me your group, but I've got a lot of people that don't have a group. So I was going to go over that on Friday. Just make sure that we're all hooked up in groups. So if you don't have a group, don't take Friday off this week. Okay, I need to get everybody into groups, so we're going to do that on Friday. If you do have a group, I'd still love to see you on Friday, but that's what we're going to be doing. Okay, so another announcement: I finally have gotten caught up with the recordings for the class, and you can find them on Blackboard under Content, and then just open the syllabus. Once that opens, I'll show you what to do next. So you open the syllabus, just scroll down to where the schedule is on the syllabus, and you'll see there's hyperlinks on each date. So all you got to do is click on that hyperlink, or right click, control click or right click, and then open a hyperlink, and that'll pull up a YouTube video of each of the classes so far.
Section 1.
That's me.
Monday, Wednesday, Friday.
Except that should be section 4. Remember, I made that mistake the first day. So there you go. Though that's where the recordings are. Just open up the syllabus and scroll down to the schedule, and each date has a hyperlink on the date that you can open up for the YouTube video. Okay, so Globus, our online simulation. If you scroll down a bit further in the content section, you'll get to Globus materials, and I've got an overview PowerPoint here to show you guys. So, like I mentioned a little bit in the intro to the class, Globus is an online exercise where you're running a digital camera company. I pretty much call this cell phone companies these days because everything about... How many people in here actually own a digital camera that's not your phone? Okay, a couple people. I just use the phone for everything. I think a lot of people do. So if you're not particularly enthusiastic about photography, then everything about this game is pretty much like running a global cell phone company. So you're competing head to head against the other teams in the class each week. It's a global marketplace, or at least it's a simulated global marketplace. The production of the cameras takes place in each company's plant, which is located in Taiwan. And sales activities are pursued in North America, Latin America, Europe, Africa, and Asia Pacific are the 4 regions that the game is divided into. And then there's actually 8 market segments because you got the 4 geographic areas, and you've got a high-end camera and a low-end, or high-end phone and a low-end phone, or a high-end camera and a low-end camera. I'm going to use the words camera and phone interchangeably when I talk about this simulation. So you and the rest of the team each week are going to make a bunch of decisions related to the camera design. So you've got things like pixel quality and menu features, zoom on the lens that you're going to choose each week. You can change those. You can keep them the same. You're going to make decisions about production and worker compensation. So how many cameras are we going to produce? How many workers are we going to hire? What are we going to pay the workers? How much training are we going to give the workers? There's a bunch of different decisions to make in that respect. Pricing and marketing. You're going to choose, obviously, what the price of your camera is in each of the 4 markets each week. So you're going to choose how much to invest in advertising. You're going to choose what kind of promotions you want to run. You're going to choose what kind of warranty you want to offer, what kind of customer service you want to offer. You can change those things each week. You're also going to make decisions about the financing of the company. So how much debt do you use? Do you issue shares or buy back shares? And what kind of dividends do you offer to investors? So those are all decisions that you as a team need to make each week. And then there's a bunch of accounting and cost data. There's exchange rate information. There's a bunch of reports that you're going to have about the marketplace and about your competitors that you can read each week and glean information about what decisions to make and how to compete best against the other companies. There's also some decisions that are not mentioned on this page about social responsibility as well. How much do you want to donate to charity? What are you going to do to sort of improve the lifestyle of your workers, so forth and so on. So I've mentioned a lot of these variables already. Price, performance, or quality rating is basically a composite of what you've done with the components of the camera. So if you have higher zoom quality, higher pixel resolution, you're going to have a higher price quality rating than you would if you had those lower factors in that regard. And there's no best decision or best way to do this. There's companies there's teams or companies each semester that do well with a low price camera with low features and do well with a high price camera with high features, and there's some that do well in the middle. So it's always a question of what are you doing to choose the correct worker compensation, the correct marketing for the type of camera that you're trying to sell. So you've also got sales promotions, advertising, number of models of the camera, the number of dealers that you utilize in your network. I think most of the rest of those I've mentioned already. The key here is that, like I said, there's no right or wrong decisions. It all depends on what your competitors do. So all of the sales and market share differences are basically because of differences in what the competitors do with respect to price, the quality of your camera, advertising, warranties, promotions, etc. So every company's strategic challenge is to find a strategy, and that consists of all the elements of the decisions you're making that you think are going to produce the best return on investment for the company possible, when compared to the competition. So after each year of decisions, you're going to have a bunch of report information, something called the statistical review, and another thing called the competitive intelligence report. These are I'll get into showing you what all this looks like in a second, but it's a lot of data for you to analyze each week and to compare what you're doing to what your competitors are doing. And if you use that information effectively, you should do well in the game. So there's 5 criteria that you're judged on in the game. The first is your earnings per share, and there's 2 different standards in the game that are added together to give you your overall score. One is how are you doing compared to what the investors in your company expect, and the second is how well are you doing overall compared to all the rest of the companies. So what the investors expect, in order to be at 100% of your investors' expectations, you need to grow your earnings per share by 8% annually for the first 4 years of the game. So it says year 10, but the game actually starts in year 6. You guys are, in the simulation, you're theoretically taking over management of the company from the existing management, and you're all starting on an equal footing. All of the companies are tied when the game starts, and it's year 5, so you're taking over starting in year 6. So from year 6 until year 10, you need to grow your earnings per share by 8%. After that, as you get bigger, it gets harder to still grow that dynamically, so 4% is the expectation after that. You need to maintain a return on equity of 15% or more annually. Maintain a B+ credit rating. I'll get into what all this means in the game. I'll open up the website and walk you through everything when I'm done with the PowerPoint. You need to improve your stock price, again, just like earnings per share, by 8% annually through the first 4 years of the game, and then by 4% annually thereafter. And then you need to achieve an image rating of 70 or higher. The image rating is partially about the quality and performance of your camera. It's partially about your social responsibility activities in the community. It's a combination of factors. Like I said, there's 2 different scoring standards. One is how well you do compared to what the investors expect. The other is how well you do overall in each of the 5 categories. And those 2 scores are then added together to get your overall score for the game. There used to be a quiz. I don't use it anymore, so I'll go past that. There also used to be a strategic plan. I don't use that anymore. There is a peer evaluation at the end of the game. I actually have my own peer evaluation forms that I use for the class, so we're not going to use that either. And finally, how do you register? Let's see here. That's it. So after Friday, after all the groups are assigned, I will email all the groups with your registration code for the game. And then you'll go into www.globus.com. You'll click on a button that says student registration in the upper left-hand corner of the screen. I'll show you where it is in a second. And then you're going to enter that registration code into the box where it asks you for your registration code. After that, you'll click to pay with credit card. It's 44 some odd. I think it's $44.95. Everybody in the class has to pay the $44.95. Sorry, I've given you a break on the textbook, but I can't give you a break on the game. So that's what you need to do to register, and you'll do that after we assign all the groups on Friday. The corporate lobby page is sort of your main entry point into to the game. I'll show you what that looks like in a second, but it's rather than talking about it in the PowerPoint, it's a lot easier to show you on the actual website. So you can, if you want, create a name for your company. It has to start with the letter of your group. So I will assign groups from A to probably about J or K, and as long as the name starts with that letter, then you can change it. You can also just leave it as the group or team letter. And then finally, this is also easier to show you in the website rather than explain, but you have the ability to work remotely on this. So each of the team members, you don't have to be together as a team. You could all be at home and dial into the game at the same time. But if you do that, you need to make sure that you're in what's called collaboration mode. And I'll show you where to click to be in that mode. If you're not in collaboration mode and one person makes changes and then another person makes changes, the second person will save over the changes of the first person. So if you're in collaboration mode, it'll actually update the changes while you're working. Man, I'm getting, like, every time I do this class, I get a little bit better at it, and I gotta come up with more material. I got some stuff to show you on the website, but it's not gonna take until 10 till. Are you upset about that? Okay. Well, I take that very seriously, and my colleagues do too. So I over the weekends for future weeks, I gotta think of some more materials, so we're not getting done quite so soon. What's that? You're okay with it? Okay. Well, I'm glad that I'm getting so efficient at delivering this. We're not quite done yet. I got some stuff to show you on the website, but it's not going to take until 10 till. So the website. Let's pull up Globus. Oh, whoops. So I already clicked my login right here. Let me go back for a second. When you go to the website, it's going to look like this. You're going to click here on this new students box in order to register for the game. And then once you click there, it's going to give you a place to enter your registration code, and you just go from there and follow the instructions. So if I go to this is last fall's class, so I can illustrate everything to you by using last fall's class. This is what my screen looks like. Yours is going to look a little different, and I'll show you in a second what it'll look like. Okay, so access a corporate lobby. This is what your corporate lobby looks like. So if you, once you register for the game, you're going to have a screen that looks like this. There is a user guide or participant guide in PDF format here. I highly recommend that you open it and read it. It's going to be a little bit laborious to start with. What is it? How many pages is this thing? Huh? 26. Ah, thank you. It's 26 pages long, but I promise you, if you read this document, you will do better in the game. Like it's not, the game's not that hard to understand, but it is like baffling if you've never done it before. So read the participant manual, please. You'll do much better in the game if you do. Close that thing again. You've also got sort of an intro video if you want to watch it. Some recommendations and so forth. The most important thing here in participant materials is that PDF, the participant guide. The decision schedule, if you wanted to see when it's scheduled, you can click on decision schedule. This is how it was last year. Basically, I can tell you that every weekend by 11:59 p.m. on Sunday, you need to have made your decisions for that week, and it's going to go until slightly after spring break, I imagine. Do we have a spring break?
Yes.
I heard my 1:00 class told me, hey, one of these weeks is spring break week, and I didn't see it in the university calendar. Which week is it? Do you guys know? April 8th?
The 10th through the 14th.
Okay, so this special topics lectures week here, that's spring break. I'm going to do special topics lectures in another week. So basically, after you come back from spring break, you'll have one final decision to make for the game, and then we'll have a couple of weeks after the game is over. But basically, every week from now through spring break, you're going to be making a decision about how you want the game to go. Now, that includes this weekend. Sorry, I'm not giving you quite as much time. Let me see, what are we doing next week? I've got a lecture on our. Okay, so I think normally things will be due on Sunday. I'm going to change the due date so that you got a couple extra days and make it probably Tuesday of next week because we're going to discuss the results of your decisions on Wednesday in class, and then whatever happened. We haven't covered on Friday, but. Since the other class is only Monday, Wednesday, I'm going to discuss results for all the Global stuff on Wednesday of next week. That's a practice round. So
only for this session, you will change the date. All the
no, only for the first due date. Only for the first due date. Everything else will be due on Sunday at 11:59. Is that a hand up?
Yeah, quick question. In the game, is there like a log that tells you what manager changed what when?
Yes, there is. You can see which members of the team made edits when. The decisions that you make this weekend, they're not going to count. We're gonna talk about them next week, so you can kind of learn from what you did right, what you did wrong, and then I'll reset the game. And the following weekend, those decisions will count. So give everybody a chance to kind of practice a bit, first of all. Assignments, basically, this used to be important when there was a quiz and a strategic plan that I used. I don't do those things as part of this the simulation anymore, so you don't have to worry about it. And if you want to change your company name, you can click right here to change the company name. The most important place to click is on this Go to Decisions Reports right here. You're going to click there to make decisions for the company. And this is what it'll look like after you open it up. You've got little folders here on the left-hand side. Decision entries, the very first one, is where you click to make your decisions. So you've got different areas of decisions. So product design, you'll see here you can change the number of megapixels. So right now it's 9 for this company. If you wanted to move it up or move it down, you can change it accordingly right there. You can change the size of the screen, the lens quality, and you're going to do that for both your entry level and your multi-featured cameras. So basically, every place where you see blue is a decision that you need to make. And if you notice here, down at the bottom, projected production costs, it'll show you the way everything is set right now. It's estimated that it'll cost you $79.77 per camera for entry level. If you notice here, if I change the number of megapixels to 12, it just changed the production cost and moved it up about $4. So every change I make here, you'll notice down at the bottom, it's changing the overall price for the camera. So your price quality rating is listed in stars here. It can go anywhere from half a star up to I believe 5 stars. It says so right there. It can range from half a star to 5 stars. Most teams, most of the time, the low end is 1 star or 1.5 stars. The high end is 3.5. It's very rare that I see a 4-star camera in the game. I've never actually seen a team with a 5-star camera, but that doesn't mean you couldn't be successful with one. I just haven't seen it done yet. So that's where you edit all of your decisions for product design. Then you go down and click on the next tab here, marketing decisions. Everywhere where you see blue is something that you decide. So in general, you want to make sure that this number here is the same as the number next to it. Each year, depending on the demand for your cameras, you're going to have either more or less retailers that want to sell your camera. And some of these decisions involve sort of nuances and finding the right number. Other decisions in this game are simply about not forgetting to do something. And not forgetting to do something is important in business as well. So as an example of that, when I worked for Bertelsmann, a big international media company, there was a time when we installed SAP in our organization. It's an enterprise-wide hardware and software program. And we did everything we thought we were supposed to. And unfortunately, we forgot to actually connect the system to the warehouse. So the first month, we had millions of dollars of sales and $0 of revenue collected because nothing got sent from the warehouse. So in this case, this is about not forgetting. You got to make sure to look each week and max out these numbers. Otherwise, you're not reaching your full revenue potential. If you'll notice here, I'm going to move forward for a second. Entry-level assembly. You'll see here there's a certain number of orders projected. This is how many orders the marketplace want. This is how many orders your retailers want from you based on the quality of the camera, the price, the number of retailers. If you look here, watch. This says 90 right now in Q1 in North America. If I go in and I change the number of shops from 760 to 200, and I go back, see this is 87 now instead of 90. So all of these decisions are interrelated to each other. So if you want to be able to manufacture the most units possible, you need to make sure to max out these numbers up here. Your quarterly technical support is largely related to the price quality rating of your camera. If you have a lower quality camera, you need to invest more in customer service in order to keep people loyal to your product. Advertising tends to be higher when you're a middle of the road camera. If you have the highest quality camera possible, the quality of the camera itself sort of speak for itself. And if you have the lowest quality camera possible, the price usually speak for itself because you have the lowest price in the game. So you can afford to spend a little bit less on advertising if you're at the ends of the quality spectrum. If you're in the middle, you need to spend more on advertising. Price price can be all over the board in this game. The most important thing is how your price compares to your competitors. Same thing with promotions, warranty. Actually, all of this stuff is relative to your competitors. And you'll notice here you have different prices for each of the 4 markets and different prices for multi-featured or the high-end camera versus the entry-level or low-end camera. So make sure that you actually edit both of these. Otherwise, you're only changing one of your cameras. So before we go forward with that, let me show you. If you scroll down a bit, in these yellow folders, it says Globus Statistical Review and Competitive Intelligence Reports. I particularly recommend looking at the Competitive Intelligence Report. If you open that up and click on Quarterly Snapshot, you can see what all of the other companies are doing for technical support, advertising, promotions, price. You can't see everything. You can't see what they've decided for their quality of their camera, but you can't see what they've decided for pixel level or number of menu features or whatever, but you can see all of the advertising decisions. And you want to make sure that you are competitive with the companies that have the same price quality rating as you. Okay, so if you look here, we're company in this game right now. I logged into company A, so company A has 2 price quality stars for for entry level. You'll see here. So the other teams that have 2 stars are Team E and Team G. So if we look up here for technical support, Team E is spending $1,400. Team G is spending $755, and Team A is spending $600. So I think $1,400 is a bit high, but A is a bit low. So compared to the competitors, they might want to bring this up to more like $750 or $800. So once you look at how you compare to your competitors, you can go back to the decisions and increase this to, what did I say, 800? And by the way, before I do that, let me go back to 600. Again, if you look, there's 90 units demanded right now. If I change this technical support to 800, 93. So I changed there's better technical support, so the retailers think that there's going to be more people to buy the cameras. They demand more cameras from us. Okay? So everything you change in here affects the rest of the numbers. As you get better at the game, you can choose different numbers for each of the 4 geographic markets. It's especially relevant when exchange rates come into play because the different markets have different values of their currency. But to start with in the game, the easy thing is to just make things consistent across the 4 geographic markets. As you go forward, you can start playing with the exchange rates a little bit more. But I recommend right now that you just try and make things consistent across the 4. So anyway, after you've done all that, and basically the way that I did technical support, you want to do the same thing for advertising, for price, for your promotions, for your warranty, and then you want to do the same thing again for your multi-featured cameras. So if we look in that report again, the multi-featured camera, Group A has a 2.5-star camera, so they're competing with groups F and G in multi-featured. So groups F and G price $330, $290, $325. So they're pretty much in the ballpark there. They're in between the two prices. So $325 is probably a good place to stay. How about promotions? So there's 2 promotions for 3 weeks, 3 promotions for 3 weeks, 2 promotions for 3 weeks. That's pretty close. 20%, 18%, 20%, 3 years. So if you look at each of these edits, looks like the multi-featured camera is okay for North America right now. Now, if you want to compare it in Latin America, you have to go up here and change Europe, Asia, back to North America. Does that make sense? Okay. So, once you've changed all your numbers in the marketing, you're going to go to entry-level assembly, and you need to make these numbers match the numbers up above. So there's 2 ways to do this. The easy way is just to click on this button here, match assembly to orders. If you want, you're allowed to ship 10% more than what's demanded. So that can help you pump up your revenues a little bit, but you have to do that by hand. So if you want, you can go into each of these, and 10% more than 93 should be, what, 102? 10% more than 84 is 92, so that actually is too high. 10% more than 177 is 194, etc. And 10% more than 76 is 83, right? 84. So you can go in and you can change these by hand. But make sure, if nothing else, you go click match assembly to orders, because otherwise you're not going to be producing as much as you could. Same thing for multi-featured assembly. And then if you go down again, compensation and labor, this is where you'd make decisions about how much you pay your employees, how many employees to hire, etc. So if you notice here, you can change the amount of base wage increase or decrease that you give to employees each quarter or each year. You can change the incentive that you offer for good quality work. You can change the bonus that you offer for perfect attendance, and you can alter their fringe benefits. You can also alter how much you invest in training and development. You want to try and keep your salaries and benefits about the same as the market. So this is 2% higher than the market average right now. If you look on the right-hand side, that's okay. That's pretty close. If you're 7, 10, 15% above or below, then you're going to want to change to get back in line with where the marketplace is. But in general, there's different ways to go. The more you pay your workers, the more productive they are. So if I just show you something here real quick, if I change the fringe benefits, look here at the these numbers down here are the number of employees that I have to hire. So 142 is how many I need to achieve my production goals. 118 is how many I had last year, so that means I have to hire 24. Watch, if I increase the fringe benefit package, it decreases the number of workers I need because each individual worker is more productive. Make sense? But this is a little high, so I'm going to move that back to, what was it, 650 before? Yeah, it was 650 before. So once you've made your decisions here, you need to go in and hire or fire employees accordingly. So right here, we need to hire 24. We don't need to hire any in the second quarter because we hired the ones we needed here. We do need to hire 130 in the third quarter. The third quarter is basically where all the holiday production happens. It's all the Christmas holiday production. So you're always going to need more workers in the third quarter than you do in 1, 2, or 4. So we put in 134 there, but you got to make sure to lay off. That's temporary labor, basically. If you don't lay off those workers, then they become permanent employees, and you have to pay them severance when you fire them. So if you just go from one quarter to the next, they're considered temporary employees, and you don't have to pay severance. Which is not cold-hearted. It's just the way it is because you need extra work just for the holidays. So make sure to subtract them then at the end as well. You want to make sure to make these overtime numbers match whatever it says here for max OT. So just make sure whatever it says on the right-hand side for max OT, you type in to this box here. And then for corporate citizenship, you can basically make decisions about how much you give to charity, whether you're going to have a green company or not, how much you're going to invest in energy efficiency, whether you're going to have a cafeteria and childcare facilities, and whether you're going to have like safety features in the company, and then whether you're going to have a supplier code of conduct. These things, more than anything, impact your image rating. So if you look here, image rating is 70 right now. If I go in and I start giving $5 million to charity each, well, that didn't actually change anything. 10 million moved it up to 71, but it also brought my profits down a lot, so we probably don't want to do that. If I change energy efficiency programs up to 3,500, no, that didn't do it. 5,000 still didn't do any good. What if I add the cafeteria? That brought my image rating up by a point. So the image rating is right here. These inputs here largely impact your image rating. And then finally, finance and cash flow. You've got blue here. Basically, you want to keep the balance on your loans around 35% of capacity. If you're any higher than 30 or 40% of the capacity on your loans, it's going to hurt your credit rating. But there's only so much money you can use to pay down your loans. If you notice here, we actually have zero extra cash right now in quarter one, so we can't pay down any of the loans there. We have $5 million in extra cash in quarter two, $28 million in quarter four. So I'm going to go ahead and take the $5 million here and pay down the loans a little bit. I didn't change the credit rating because it wasn't enough. Now let me see if it affects the credit. Right now, credit rating is B+. If I put 27 in here to pay down, nope, still didn't affect the credit rating. So if we want more cash to be able to pay down loans, we could issue shares. So if you issue shares, you see here, if I issue 1,000 shares of stock, whoa, look, all my numbers just got a lot better because I have more cash. And you'll see my credit rating went to an A-. If I then use the cash to pay down my debts, I can probably get it all the way. I couldn't get it up to an A. I got it up to an A- by offering more stock. But if I offer more stock, there's 5 earnings per share. Well, if I have more shares of stock, that means that the number on the bottom of the equation is bigger, which means my earnings per share are lower. So in general, you want to have as little stock outstanding as possible, but sometimes when you don't have enough cash to pay down your debts, there's no choice but to offer some stock. If you want to buy back stock, you just type the number in the other box. So buying back stock goes there. And you'll notice that that moved up my earnings per share to 432. If I go back and change that again, 397. But my credit rating went up. So it's a balance between the different factors. That actually brings us to 10 till. There was more to show than I thought. So please, the sooner you get me your group names, the sooner I can get you your registration code so that you can do your practice round this weekend. So anybody that does not have a group, please form a group and tell me who's in your group ASAP. Okay, that's on the list for Friday. See you guys on Friday.
I'll try to come on Friday for like 20 minutes or so. That way I can get with my group. There's only 2 people in our group.
Only 2?
2 so far.
I'll add more.
Maybe 3.
Have you emailed me with the names?
No, it's just me and him so far. I don't know, there was another guy, but I'm not saying.
So email me the names.
All right,
It's too many things for me to write down right now.
Yeah.
Email me the names, even if it's the 2 of you for now.
All right.
How much of a necessity is our textbook?
The textbook you need for the exams. That's really it. You need the textbook for the exams. So as a group, you could split the cost of the textbook. You will need it to study for the exams, but that's the only thing you need it for. I mean, if you really want to make the cost cheap, you could like split one textbook between 2 groups. I think it costs $75 to rent from Amazon right now. It's probably it just came out last semester, so it's probably cheaper now.